doing a little studio check-in. It's been a while. Somebody watching this might have noticed that I didn't do one at the beginning of the month on the first Friday. Totally sick with the flu. And my husband was too. It was awful, and I do not wish it upon anybody this year. So I today, spontaneously, because I'm trying out my new microphone, the Blue Yeti, I thought, well, I'm just going to do a vlog and a studio check-in because I'm feeling the energy to be back in the studio finally after lots of things in our personal life. Home life has changed, and I'll share more about that at some point. But it's been an energetic, wild ride and beautiful too. So here I am. So what's going on in Hali Karla Arts, in Hali Karla's world? In my world right now, wow. Spectrum opened, right? Well, registration opened, and we open the program for 2015 May 1st. It'll be 6 months this year. Women are signing up. I am so excited for the journey we're taking this year. And that's all I'm going to say on that, except that I will be doing holistic creative chats with many of the contributors for this year. So if you enjoy those, you'll get a chance to meet some of the contributors you may not know through one of those holistic creative chats. And I'm really looking forward to that. I love having those conversations. So I'm getting ready to start those up again. And doing a lot of cleaning in the studio, absolutely necessary. And I find the new year is a great time for me to do that, to declutter, make space, shift things around a little bit, refocus and all of that. So that's been happening in the studio. And I've also been like picking up things that I haven't done in a long time, like beading, like with seed beads. So making jewelry. I'm making my first pair of earrings in like years and years. Feels like a good wintertime activity. And always, of course, doing a little bit of my journaling, whether it's written or mixed with the art journaling. I'm getting ready to start a big painting. I've been really aching to do a big painting for the last few weeks, so it's time. And I intend to film that and share portions of that process as well. So that's what's going on over here. Doing something like Spectrum is a huge undertaking. There's a lot of communication behind the scenes and organization and prepping things for the contributors so that it can be as easy as possible for them to just be in their process while they create their beautiful workshops. And I really love that kind of work. You know, kind of being like the one that says, you know, come on, let's gather. Let's see what happens if we all just bring something to the table. And so I'm jazzed up about that. And yeah, so the creative practice has been all over seed beading, mixed media, doing a little 3D, just play stuff with my husband, and music, playing a little bit of music, and really just kind of being in the season in the winter here. Maybe it's like that for you too, where you are, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere anyway. Which brings me to my creative question for you today, or the prompt, or the thing to contemplate and sit with, is I've been thinking about cycles, which I'm always kind of noticing cycles in me. And so one of the cycles I'm in right now is that my birthday's in about a month. So at my birthday, I'm coming into what is my energetic spring. So as I hit that birthday, I'm going to be moving into my springtime. So things are going to start sprouting, you know, everything's going to kind of come to life. Creative energies like going to feel alive and awake and ready to go, which means right now I'm kind of in my winter time, but it's the end of winter. And so I have this creative energy that's kind of like cabin fever. It's like those seeds have been sitting under the soil, a little bit dormant in that dark, damp, cold soil. But they feel it getting a little bit warmer and a little bit lighter each day. I have all kinds of ideas right now and things I want to try out this year. And they're starting to wake up inside, getting ready for that springtime when it's time to burst through and come to life. So that's the creative energy I'm feeling right now, is the anticipation of spring and doing those things that I need to do to tend and be ready for that, to make space for that flowing, because I'm feeling really creatively energized and ready. So that's exciting. The other cycle that has come into my awareness in the last few months, and then I had it kind of validated by a few different sources and people just in these last few weeks, is to pay attention to the time of day that you were born, if you know that. because it's said that this is your prime time, like your most productive time of day, or your most energetically alive time of day. And when I kind of started to notice that in myself, and then I started to see what other people felt about that, it was interesting because I've tried my whole life to be a morning person. I love the morning. It's gorgeous, but I'm just not naturally in my greatest energy in the morning. I am, however, in the evening, like in the night time, in the evening into the night. And that has always been a source of some discomfort when I'm trying to put myself into being a morning person, because I think I need to go to bed earlier. And then if I'm just kind of awake, I can't fall asleep as well. I'm not necessarily using my creative energy in my practice for my painting or my writing at the times of day that are maybe best suited to me. So I was born like between 8 and 9 p.m. And sure enough, that is like the time of day when I get like this surge and could really get something going, which means I have to give it a few hours. And so then I end up kind of staying up later, which means that I naturally tend to want to sleep in a little bit later than some other people do who are natural morning people, or who perhaps don't get to create their own schedules for their work. So pay attention. What time of day were you born? And how do you typically feel energetically around that time of day? When you're well rested, I think is a good time to take assessment of that. What is that time of day typically like for you? And is that the time of day that you're able to pour some creative energy into something you love? Or is that time of day when you're more productive or not? I'd be curious to hear what you have to say. I found more than one person that find that the time of day they were born actually has some sort of energetic truth for them. So very interesting. So curious how that works for you. Notice what time of day. Is it possible for you to work that in to your schedule as a productive time? If you were born in the middle of the night, maybe not. But if it was sometime in the waking hours, perhaps that can become the time that you make set aside a little bit for your creative practice. So, all right. Hope you all are doing well, and I will check in with you again soon. All right. Hey, it's me again. I also wanted to tell you about my word of the year for this year. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And it came to me in that little special time between sleeping and waking. Sometimes I hear things very strongly then, and they're typically spot on, either guidance or clarity. And so my word came to me in that really special time of day. And I heard it very clearly, and there's no denying it. But I am not telling anybody just yet what it is, because it feels really special and really tender. And I'm not exactly sure why this particular word has come up for me. So I'm holding it like something special and tender for myself, for the unfolding in that way. It feels a little bit more magical that way for me. So if you're somebody who hasn't found a word of the year, but you want to, maybe try when you first hear it, holding it to yourself for a little while. See how that feels and how it starts to show up for you before you share it with everybody, you know. Let the synchronicities be truly from your own intuition and your own that space inside of you, inside of every one of us, that makes our own connections and our own validations, and sees those before us without other people putting in their input or what have you. So that's what I'm doing with mine, holding it in a tender, sacred way, like this special thing, almost like I've put it in a medicine bundle with some other things. And those are things I typically don't share with just anybody. So I hope you did find a word if that's your thing. And if not, that's okay. You certainly don't need one. Sometimes that's liberating as well. And perhaps if you're still looking and one comes to you, hold it close a little while. See how that feels. All right.